creed.
And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
What the hell's going on out here? Everybody's grabbing out there. Nobody.
That the only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
Today, I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth.
I'm not fearing any man. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord.
So, 5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes! Unbelievable.
Free at last! Free at last! Thank Almighty! We are free at last!
You're listening to the Autry Show on the best talk in town. Talk Radio 1550 KXEX. Call Alan now, 559-899-1550.
And como esta, amigas and amigos? This is Alan Autry. No retirada. I said no retirada.
Would you say them straight, please?
One more time. Alan Autry. No retirada. Sounded a little like Hitler on that one, didn't I?
Yeah, you did.
No retirada.
Okay.
That means no retreat in Spanish.
Does
Did you know that, Bullet Bob?
I did not know that.
We don't remember that.
I did not.
Does it though?
When your wife holds you accountable, no retirada. We won't see him in the studio again. We'll just have a little service, a little graveside service.
This will be my last day.
Welcome, Bullet Bob. Welcome,
you,
Triple G, Moreno, my favorite Latinx talk show host. It is so great.
There's not a lot of them.
Not a lot of them out there.
How many Latinx, Latino, oh, sorry, I already covered that with Latinx host shows radio show hosts do you know?
You're the only one. That's what makes you unique.
Thank you.
He's special.
Yeah, I got one right here. I'm going to just tantalize you with you. How long are your arms? Reach over here. No,
I got like a little T-Rex arm.
You can't reach it.
Well, I got one for you.
Huh?
You are my favorite.
Gringo! Gringo!
You are my favorite mayor with law enforcement experience.
That's right.
You get
They
it?
laugh at that.
You get it,
One
though?
of these days, I get it.
It's
People
double.
out there don't.
It's double, though, because of Heat of the Night and
That's right.
and Dyer. Get it?
Do you know, okay, with that experience, we went to 50-year lows in crime. They're afraid Bubba going to come down there and get them.
Exactly.
That's right. Bad crime just ran like scalded dogs. Ran off to the bottom.
Yep.
Kept them there for 8 years.
Oh,
That's what I did, Bullet Bob. Well, let's see who I can run off today. I've already run off. My Roe versus Wade position's gotten rid of half of my female audience.
Yeah, Wednesday you
which
ran off.
makes about 90% of my audience.
Yes.
So we got those who have gone. Good riddance. Don't let the door hit you on the way out, Alan, in the big Botox of yours. And then Joe Biden lying, and I want to get into that because this whole Trump derangement syndrome, people that I really admire, that really intelligent, much more intelligent than me, I'm finding out because I never had Trump derangement syndrome. Before Trump, during Trump, after Trump, I just never did. There were people that just hated it. Our buddy Dennis Wofford, Dennis just hated it. I mean, he just kept him awake for 4 years. He says, Hoss, I think I need to get hair therapy. He admitted it at least. He says, I go home, I put on CN, I watch it 24/7. I hate him.
Man.
I said, well, Dennis, it's not good to have hate in your heart. He goes, I know it, but I do. And I realized how many. Then you have people on the right that have Trump derangement syndrome that love him so much. And I was just talking about Joe Biden's lies. And it's 3 or 4 people going, wow, Joe Biden's lying. You didn't do any research. Trump lied, this and that. When I call out a sitting president, Joe Biden's president right now, that doesn't mean I'm comparing him to Trump all the time. That's not what I'm doing. I don't have Trump derangement syndrome on calling out Joe Biden's line. There was 45 presidents before Joe Biden. I got 45 people to compare his lies to.
Yeah.
Do a little research, right? And I want to do that a little bit later on here because I just don't. I don't say, well, it wasn't like this when Trump was there. But Trump had some good policies, some policies not so good. I like some of the stuff he did. I didn't like some of the stuff he did. But I just don't automatically. We have a crisis of truth with this president, clearly. And it's so dangerous. The world is so dangerous. My goodness, we just had a former prime minister of Japan shot dead with a homemade gun. If that doesn't send a message of how violent this world has become. And we're one misstep away in Ukraine of having a war that could escalate into something that's going to sacrifice not only our futures, but our kids and grandkids. And you have a president who can't stop lying and can't stop smack-talking people, call them every name in the book. Well, he says the most egregious, I call them consequential lies.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah, those lies are good. Like we said, we're all people of faith, and we read the Bible, and the Bible says, at the cross, the field, the ground is level. A lie is a lie. But I think in that Bible also, you can see where certain lies were so egregious that they caused great pain and death.
What are the repercussions?
Yes. Yeah. Yes. And you have a president now that has just lies with a consequential aspect to it that is off the freaking charts. And we'll go, I guess we can go into it now. It's free for all Friday. But
it's not only consequential, but it's a blatant lie. There's different types of lies. There's little white lies, which I never got. Like, is that like little white people saying lies? Anyhow, there's
hey, that's racist. Every white supremacist in America is offended by that.
Now I'm triggered.
Little white lie.
How
about a big white?
So that means I'm the big Italian American.
So if you're over 6'2" and over 215 pounds like me, I'm a big white lie.
It's a big white lie.
According to my friend Laura, I love you, Laura. I love you out there, and I love all my listeners. But basically called me a lying yesterday about Biden.
Well, so you have different variations of lies, and then there's those lies where the truth is like right next to whatever you're lying about. That's Joe Biden. That's what he's doing. He's coming out saying, gas prices are going down. It's like, okay, well, I guess that's kind of not a lie because they are, but he's lying to you because he's doubled the price of gas since he took office.
Yes.
So, and the problem is,
and the border is closed.
Yeah, that's a better example. But everybody lies in politics, Alan. So I don't want.
I acknowledged that, and I think we've all told our fibs, and we'll continue. That is the fallen nature of man. That you're gonna. And then you try to rationalize. Well, my lie wasn't as big as that lie, but there are consequential lies, and when your lies not only can affect others, but literally the future of the planet. They have to be called out. I don't want to be sitting around going, for example, Joe Biden was right there with Barack Obama saying, if selling their Obamacare proposal, if you like your doctor, don't listen to those conservatives. Don't listen to Guillermo Moreno over there in conservative radio. They're just far right wackos. They're saying that you're going to lose your doctor, you're going to have a choice to keep your doctor if you want your doctor. Well, to Obama's credit, he apologized when he found out that that people did lose their doctor. Now, he knew it all along, but at least he apologized. You had Ronald Reagan, who apologized for the Iran-Contra affair. And National Public Radio actually pointed out to Reagan's apology as the mea culpa every president should use. Because when you hear like George W. Bush said about Katrina, well, if the government fails, I'm responsible. I take personal responsibility. That means when you use that kind of phrase, that means you're sorry that it happened, but you didn't take any blame for it. Really, it wasn't your fault, but you take responsibility for what happened. Bill Clinton looked right in the camera and said, "I'm sorry, I was wrong for what I did." And oddly, you look at Biden and his team and all those folks that were griping against Trump about never saying he's sorry. He never admits he's sorry about anything, about what he's done.
Trump or Biden?
Trump. That was the criticism about him. I'm just dissecting this.
I don't think he ever apologized for anything.
Never apologized for anything. Yeah. Okay, never did. Has this president apologized for anything?
No.
If you're going to criticize someone, you're saying, and you vote another person in, and one of your key reasons is because who you're voting against is won't apologize when they're wrong. That's a key character component that you point out time after time after time on the media, in the political world, on the left, and you say, here's a guy, in this case Joe Biden, who's not going to lie. And by the way, if he messes up, he's a man big enough to apologize. Has he apologized for Afghanistan?
No.
Has he got 4 Americans killed, blown up? And he said, you want to talk about Laura? I got to look at everybody here I got some criticism on this. This is what I call a consequential lie. You have 4 Americans that lost their life. Joe Biden never acknowledges that, says he's sorry for that, and makes the statement, I will not leave any Americans behind or anyone who helped us. Laura, you helped somebody get out there. Did that president ever come back and say, I didn't keep my word? I lied? No. People died and continue to die and get raped over there because this man does not have the integrity and the strength enough to say I was wrong. How about inflation? You got people, I'm not a rich man. Bob, you're not a rich man. Guillermo, not a rich man, but we have enough to put food on the table and absorb some of this inflation. Families around this country, a lot of them don't.
Exactly.
They don't. That gas goes up and the prices of groceries goes up. And this guy's telling you that, number one, it isn't inflation. There's no inflation. Then he says inflation is good. Then he says Putin caused inflation. Not this bill, the stimulus bill that every economist said contributed greatly to inflation. To that can of beans now that's tripled in price. He didn't apologize for that. He lied. Those are consequential lies. And when you have the border, you say the border is open. Laura and everybody else that criticized me, when you're getting kids raped, brought over here by coyotes, dying out there in the desert, being left in semis, 50-something people left to die a horrible death, and you say the border is closed and you don't even address it and apologize for that? I'm not going to call that out. And when I do, you say, oh, you let Trump get away with it. Trump is not president right now. Neither is Ronald Reagan. This man is president. And if I would have had a talk show when Trump was lying, I would have called him out.
Yeah.
I didn't have the show.
True. Well,
I think I'm officially triggered.
Just a bit.
Okay. I turned I turned the mics over to Bullet Bob and my Latinx talk show friend Guillermo.
Well, how do we follow up with that? How do we follow that? But this is a pattern. This isn't just a recent phenomenon. He has said things about things he supposedly did in the past that were blatantly untrue. He was in jail. He was in jail with Mandela in South Africa.
Yeah, he got arrested.
Yeah, he got arrested.
Mandela.
Never happened. He's a graduate of Delaware State. Never happened.
But he drove truck at one time for a living. Right.
So I guess my point is certainly these comments are more egregious because of the position he's in that you rightfully pointed out. But this is nothing new. This is a long and detailed history. So should we be surprised? I don't think so. It certainly raises the stature because of his position as president of the United States. But I don't think we should be really surprised. Do you?
Well, I'm not. I'm surprised at how many people are still holding out, defending him. And when you call out his lies, they immediately turn to Trump derangement syndrome.
Well, look,
my mind doesn't go there. I'm not comparing this man to Trump.
Well,
I'll compare him to Reagan. I'll read.
We have a truth problem in America because you're talking about the speaker, saying, being a liar, but the Americans love lies. When you think about it, and I don't want to put everybody in that deplorable basket like Hillary Clinton, but America doesn't care about the truth anymore. You see it.
Now, that is a very broad swath. I think you're right. I don't think the media likes the truth because it doesn't sell.
We're gonna find out in November if America doesn't mind a couple of little white lies.
I would love to be behind this mic going, everybody's telling the truth and everybody's fine. Let's play some oldies. And I think a lot of people out there
do
would
that
too.
on some radio stations, by the way. They do.
No, but go ahead with your thought, because you're on an interesting path there. You really are.
Exactly, because if we were to hold our politicians accountable, they would change their behavior.
You have a point. You get the leadership you elect.
They know that they're okay with, and they know that they got cover. You know what I mean? On a football team, it's not just you by yourself. You got a whole team behind you. You're covering. So Biden, Obama, these guys have cover. And you hire people in politics, you hire consultants. Hey, you can spin anything, right? You could spin the truth. Attorneys are often, they're spinning some stuff. So don't
you hire the best spinner?
Yeah.
At least some people, you don't hire them because they're the first trans spinner.
This is very true.
You know, I mean, nothing against the trans community. I'm not being demeaning. And I'll tell you, I know people in trans community. I really do. And my people I know are really good people. I don't have this broad sweep. Yeah. They hate this as much as anybody. Don't give me a job. I'm not going to mention the individual's name, but transition from male to female. Don't give me the job because of that. Let me earn it.
Yeah.
Interview me like you would anybody else. I don't want to be the first this, and that's how I'm known.
Mm-hmm.
But go ahead.
That's my first point, is that America has a truth problem. Maybe America can't handle the truth. I had to throw that in there.
Yeah.
The second thing is, and I think Dan Bongino said
That's an opening in
oh, man.
It is, I understand.
And yesterday, did I say this already? But yesterday was
so easily derail him getting going on.
Yesterday was
right off the sidetrack.
But I love it. I'm eating it up with a spoon. Go ahead.
Yesterday was National Tell the Truth Day. Did you know that?
So it was the day the nation went
just one day
went mute.
Just one day.
Just one day. We only tell the truth on one day.
That'll take care of
So
it.
all the channels.
Yeah. But
one whole day.
I'm not lying about that either. So here's
Everybody lies so much that you have to have a National Truth Day.
Yeah, National Truth Day. National Tell the Truth Day.
Okay.
Then my second point is this. The Biden administration is horribly inexperienced. They are. It is so bad. The individuals that he has in many of the posts, they don't know what they're doing.
I feel sorry for Karine Jean-Pierre.
I feel bad for her too.
She
wasn't.
And they call you racist for pointing that out. You know, the first gay black, and as if that's going to protect. You just go ahead.
She's out of her element.
I feel so bad for her.
I feel bad for her. I feel bad for. Well, I feel bad for the American people the most.
I do. Yes, I qualify that. I do. Yes.
Because everyone is in over their heads. They don't know what they're doing with gas. Oh, well, let's just keep pulling from the strategic reserve. Let's just keep doing that. And then federal gas tax holiday. That'll solve it. No, it really isn't going to solve the problem.
And it seems like this preponderance, accumulation of consequential lies. I believe, the Bible says, what man meant for evil, God meant for good. And I hang on to that.
Mm-hmm.
But you come out, obviously, and I'm glad you brought that up. Obviously, he does not have anybody in his sphere. He doesn't have a James Baker like Reagan did. And he doesn't have a Dick Morris like Bill Clinton did. Dick Morris comes running in and says, listen, if you don't learn how to triangulate, you're going to lose the next election. Well, let's triangulate, man. Well, he went and told him. And he went to the middle. And he had a successful 8 years. But you continue to make this latest one that erodes the people's trust in you, even among your most ardent supporters. He gets up there and says, we're going to take 10 million, as you mentioned, barrels from the reserve, but he sends it to Europe, Asia, including China.
Yeah.
What? I mean, that's beyond lying into who in that realm would suggest such a thing, him not have enough common sense to not do it, unless you're left with this inescapable conclusion. They know exactly what they're doing. They want to destroy America as much as they can. They're looking at him as probably a one-termer if he can make it through that. So let's do as many policies.
I don't think so. I think
it's just in that.
I think they're just dumb.
Just in that.
I just straight up.
That's even a bigger problem.
Straight up dumb is what they are.
No, I hope they are.
No, they are.
I hope it's not just this
evil
ideology. But
when you got Jennifer Granholm,
but they got degrees from Harvard and Columbia, Guillermo.
The online one, because
there's got to be a Michigan State person in there somewhere.
Yeah, right. Thank God. I hope. Probably not. That's why you're having this
bring
problem.
Some sanity
what's
back.
What's the Columbia fight mascot?
Columbia? I don't know. They're the clothing company. I have no idea.
The Columbia geniuses.
I think it's Lions, isn't it?
The Harvard savants.
If I were to open up a conservative,
do they even have isn't it the Crimson something Harvard?
Harvard?
Yeah. Hey, folks,
I have no idea.
It's free for all Friday, so I don't mind.
I don't know what the mascot
All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, I want to stay on this a little bit about how do you apologize for your president? It's not the kiss of death to apologize if you've done a wrong. It's a show of strength. And I'm going to read you one. It's actually, I think, a template that presidents would do that I think, especially right now, you could at least begin the process of getting a semblance, a little tiny little iota of trust back with American people. This is Alan Autry. No retirada. We'll be right back.
So leave this one alone. She can tell right away.
You know the other point I wanted to make, and you were talking. I was like, man,
I was just rambling. Go ahead.
No, but it led to greatness in my mind.
Thank you very much.
You were talking about the presidents having people that could center them. Trump, he had a lot of faults, and he had a lot of people surrounding him that he probably shouldn't have. But this man surrounded himself with a lot of people with a lot of opinions, and that's why you always heard of like, oh, this person doesn't like. Kushner doesn't like Bannon. Bannon doesn't like this guy. Ivanka's not get along with this. And it sounded like it was all in turmoil. But could you imagine his kids coming in saying, hey, Dad, come on. You want to know how many times Ivanka probably shut the door in the Oval Office and said, hey, come on, Dad. Like, seriously? Like, why did you have to send the tweet? And he goes, Ivanka, I don't know. You know me. You know your dad. It's okay. You know your dad. It'll be over.
Sit on my lap and let's talk about it.
But I can't do any impression.
Oh, yes, you do. You do Farley and Hudson and Farley.
Farley. You stole my wallet, didn't you? No, I didn't. No, that was Floyd. Go ahead.
No, but, you have – that's what happens when you – see, I knew I wasn't a fast quarterback. 5'2" and 40. Although I ran a 4.3 the other day. I didn't say that on National Truth Day. No, but
in your mind, you ran a 4.3.
But I knew unless I had a good offensive line, had a strong arm, but not a cannon. Although Joe Namath nicknamed me the cannon.
You had a pretty good.
I was an okay quarterback. I wasn't going to make plays like Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson, those folks. So I knew I needed a good team around me. I needed a good offensive line, good receivers, good defense to get the ball back for me because we're going to be punting a lot. And but I knew that. And I carried that with me throughout my life going, very few people do it on their own. And people think that they're so smart and they wind up going down in flames. They don't get a good team. Reagan had a philosophy, hire people better than him. And Reagan was pretty talented. He wanted anybody he put as a cabinet head, if that cabinet head had to, could be president. He brought in a great team.
That's James a good point.
Baker, and most presidents prior to this president, Clinton, you got a little of political correctness in there, but there's something about being elected where you're going, hey, I'm the dog caught the car. I'm a president of the freaking United States of America, most powerful position in the world. I got to get good people around me. It didn't happen with Biden.
Yeah,
he stayed with this politically correct, woke nonsense. As you say a lot of time, he governed by checking the box. He hired by checking the box. And here's all of these Dartmouth graduates, probably none of them over 40, probably most of them under 30, because he likes to be adored.
30 seconds?
I don't think he ever recovered from his son's death.
Who does?
I agree. Yeah. I think if his son were alive today, I bet you he would have course corrected his father many times. Who does he got? Hunter, the daughter?
Bo.
Bo.
Yeah, I feel for the guy, but as you said,
10 seconds.
I feel for the country more.
Yeah.
That's perfectly stated.
Yeah.
It's all right to feel bad for Karine Jean-Pierre, but dadgummit, you're speaking for the president.
Yeah.
You got one job.
You're listening to the Alan Autry Show on the best talk in town. Talk Radio 1550 KXEX. Call Alan now, 559-899-1550.
And welcome back to Alan Autry No Retreat with Bullet Bob Leone and Triple G, Guillermo Moreno. Hey, you guys talk about something while I look this up.
All right.
Hold on. I'm talking about Reagan.
Toxic masculinity.
You'd mentioned, well, I want to make one quick point. You'd mentioned, Haas, about having the good people around you.
Yeah.
For a football team or an administration or whatever. Well, that was a basic rule of thumb in business as well.
Absolutely.
I did a lot of hiring over the course of my extended tenure in the insurance business. And I was in management for many, many years. And the one thing I always look for people for technical positions. They had to be highly qualified, obviously, but you wanted somebody that could take your place. You wanted somebody to be that level to be able to replace you eventually, if that's what it came down to. So you wanted to get literally the cream of the crop, if possible, because that was the way you were going to be a successful organization, a successful business, successful team, a successful administration.
Right.
You have to hire the top people who know what they're doing.
And you look at this administration. Biden goes down, which, we don't wish that on him, but he could physically or what have you. I wish he would resign. So I do wish he would go down in that aspect. But you got Kamala Harris, totally not ready for the office, demonstrates that day after day. Then who do you go to? Who in that administration? Ron Klain? I bet 99% of the people in America don't even know who Ron Klain is. Prior to that, every president, you knew who the chief of staff was. They were out there defending the president. They know you can't defend the indefensible. They're hiring. They're running like scalded dogs, as I said. But one of his top advisors is Susan Rice. Have you seen Susan Rice give any kind of public endorsement of the president's policies, whether it be from the Ukraine to the border to the economy?
That's a good point. You don't see a lot
Number one advisor.
Yeah. You don't see any of his advisors. You don't see the chief of staff. You don't see even a lot of Democrats coming out. Remember when Trump was? I mean, your local congressman was like, I support the president. Right now, zilch.
Well, let me read this real quick because I found it, and it's from National Public Radio, not a far right institution by any means. They go after Republicans. They did this thing about presidential apologies. They went through. Clinton apologized. Barack Obama. Well, they came close to it. They said they took personal responsibility. Here's what NPR points out as Ronald Reagan. Remember you don't remember the Iran-Contra scandal, when Ollie North made Ollie North famous, where we were trying to get money to the into Nicaragua to fight the Sandinistas. I believe was the issue there, and Congress didn't approve money, so they sold Anyway, they were filtering arms some way.
Yes.
What do they call it? Laundering arms to get into there, and they were found out. They were uncovered, and there was this big committee put together by the House to investigate. And Reagan said he didn't know anything about it. And then it came out that at a particular time that he did. Excuse me. And he went before the people. And in a national address, he didn't have to do this. He could write it out. His approval ratings were still really, really high. They were ready to forgive him without the apology. And he gets in front of the people. And I remember when this happened. He says, a few months ago, I told the American people I did not trade arms for hostages. My heart and my best intentions still tell me that's true, but the facts and the evidence tell me it is not. As the Tower Board reported, what began as a strategic opening to Iran deteriorated in its implementation into trading arms for hostages. That's what. This runs counter to my own beliefs, to administration policy, and to the original strategy we had in mind. There are reasons why it happened, but no excuses. It was a mistake. Now here's what that was the apology. Then he went on. This is what NPR points out as kind of a template for presidents. He says, now what should happen when you make a mistake is this. You take your knocks, you learn your lessons, and then you move on. That's the healthiest way to deal with a problem. By the time you reach my age, you've made plenty of mistakes. And if you live your life properly, so you learn. You put things in perspective. You pull your energies together. You change. You go forward. Man.
Yeah, pretty powerful. The great communicator.
He's saying, not only do I apologize, it's changed me. In public, I'm not going to do that ever to you again.
Mm-hmm.
Now, say you want to do about Reagan. Those people say, well, I'm comparing Joe Biden to Trump. No. In fact, we'll come over and show some, they have that PolitiFact thing out there. Fact check everything. They're all over the internet. If that would make people feel better, I will bring that in there and itemize all of the things that don't check out. The truth meter on Trump. I'll do that. But that isn't even who I was thinking of. That man right there set the template. When you mess up, there's a lot riding on it.
Mm-hmm.
Especially now in the Ukraine, at the border, crime out of control. Don't look the public square in the face and say, crime is not rising. He did that. There is no crime problem in America, he said. It's out of control.
You think he cares, Alan? I mean, deep down, do you think?
Well, probably not, but you know what? We got to make him care. We got to say, look, there's consequences for this.
But how do you make someone care?
You vote him out, and you win the midterms, and you say, you know what? The Democrats, I hope, will do this. I don't know what you're going to get with the Republicans. Anybody that says they know for sure they're going to go in there and not mess it up, you're lying.
Good luck.
That's why I'm an independent. I don't know where we're going, but I know one thing. We can't stay where we are with this outfit. You can't keep Biden in office. You can't keep this woke left controlling the House and the Senate where it is. It is absolutely, how much more disastrous proof do you need? We're on the verge. Crime is out of control in every major city, now even in the small towns. You got inflation out of control. We're on the brink of nuclear war over in Ukraine. We've got a supply line chain problem that's probably going to take years to fix.
Mm-hmm. And we're in a weird moment too right now, because we're so vulnerable. We're on pins and needles. Something could either, the gas prices can really shoot up. What if one of these refineries has some kind of big oil spill or something? We're on the edge. What if, the stocks next week, something really happens catastrophic? We're at that, we're like on the edge of a cliff. We really are. Anything can send us over, can send the whole global economy over.
And see, we're being taught in this country, when you're faced with those sort of issues, that we are to run from them. They have places called safe places. Robert, we're telling our kids, we're raising our kids, when you're faced with these really significant consequential issues in life, like making a living for your family in a really tough economy, men, go run and hide, because if you stand strong, that's toxic masculinity. If you start leading your family through this and do it, I think this is a wake-up call to get back to traditional values that are timeless. Yeah, we change and move forward and progress and evolve, hopefully in a way that's more healthy and more humane as a people. But there's certain things that are timeless that you don't want to mess with, like integrity, like honesty, like hard work, like treating people like you want to be treated, like to have a borders. If you don't have borders, you don't have a country. History's shown us that.
Yeah.
These are traditional values, and they're under attack now. And you have, instead of running for a safe place, our generation, Robert, we didn't see our parents when times got tough. Pete Leone didn't decide that he's not going to go down to the hall and work. Joe Duty, my dad, didn't say, well, I'm not going to go out and plant the corn, even though I'm sick, I'm tired, I'm on the 6th day in a row working, it's 110 degrees.
Yep.
But he knew he had a son and a wife to provide for. He didn't sit there and whine and say, can somebody make me feel better? Can I, make so I can go out and do the day? They went up and faced the problem head on. And I'm going to say it, like a man and like a woman. There's some women traits as tough as can be.
Yeah.
Don't ever lose that. But you're a woman, and that's great. Be different from us men. That's what makes the world go round. And men don't be afraid to be men.
And you need both.
Let me ask you.
Would they be considered toxic masculinity
Great
today?
segue into our subject here. Great segue. What is
we were thinking the same thing?
Well,
that's really scary.
That is scary. But what's your definition as just layman here? I'm just an old, obviously anachronistic, out of place, out of time dude from another another era.
We're the dinosaurs.
What does toxic masculinity mean to you in your limited knowledge of it and my limited knowledge? What does it mean?
I've heard the term so much over the last
poison
few years.
Man.
Yeah.
And I think that's it in a nutshell. When I read I had to go in and look at the definition, because I've heard this phrase for so many times over the last several years, especially it seems like the last 5 or 6 years. Although I guess it's been around longer than that, according to some of the reading I did. But I thought, what the heck is toxic masculinity? I hear this phrase, but no one ever seems to be able to define it, at least that I've heard. Maybe they have, but so I had to go look it up.
What is it?
I can't give you my layman's terms because I don't know what it is. I'll have to.
Did you go to the dictionary for that?
Yes,
that's in the dictionary.
Yes,
toxic masculinity made it in the dictionary.
Yes,
it must be a thing.
It's.
Gotta believe old Webster.
And Guillermo will appreciate this
the
because
book, not the TV show.
He's from Michigan State.
Although I like that show.
He's from Michigan State, so he'll understand this.
Okay. What do you got against UOP?
I got to dig Michigan State. A cultural concept of manliness that glorifies stoicism, strength, virility, and dominance.
Dominance?
It
toxic masculinity. Okay.
It refers to cultural norms associated with harm to men and society.
Okay.
What does that mean?
Well, first of all, putting stoicism in there is ridiculous. If you do any research on stoicism, it's some of the best qualities an individual could have, meaning that you look in the face of adversity and you don't let it beat you. You just move forward with a personal responsibility to work through those issues. But you don't really have control on things on the outside, but you got control of things on the inside, how you react to issues. That's stoicism. And that doesn't fit in with all this other stuff.
Well, then there was
Guillermo?
there was another part too.
Okay, okay.
Is that misogyny and homophobia can be considered toxic, in part due to the promotion of violence, including sexual assault and domestic violence.
All of that's wrapped in toxic masculinity.
Well, that's what I read. I didn't make it up. I'm not that
What
smart.
would be the flip side of that? Like poison femininity? what would be? I mean, there's a yin, you got to be a yang.
Yeah.
Are we toxic? Would we be considered toxic?
I don't adhere to any of that
Yeah, we
except
would.
the stoicism.
Would we?
Yeah, I think. But I think.
Okay,
I think the woke left would see. First of all, see two white men and be like, "Yeah, that's toxic masculinity." I'm not saying that they wouldn't.
Why don't they just say what it is instead of saying masculinity? Tie in those two things together. Femininity and masculinity, on its own, are two very good, healthy descriptions of the difference between man and woman. What that is, you just read to me, I would label it more toxic meanness. Now that's kind of a double thing there.
Well, I think that's what the
yeah, but they're trying to tie it to
normal
good things that define a man. Strength, physical strength. Go ahead.
It's the war on gender. It really is. It's the war on masculinity, and they want to say, listen, you can't be a man because they don't. The three of us would all be considered toxic masculinity because we're all conservative men. Any conservative man,
by whom?
The
woke left.
The woke left. We're toxic because that we believe in X, Y, Z, so thus we're toxic. It's cultural. It's really a way to insult someone that you dislike.
That's not fair.
But
what do you mean?
How can they judge us from that?
Well, we get judged every day.
How prevalent do you think that is? That mindset. That
unfortunately,
well, let me ask you this: how many would you think that the woke left, or just the left in general? Because a lot of this stuff was happening before the quote unquote woke, ultra woke came in. This thing about, you saw in the movies, a definition of a man, if there was a strong man that was a leader, they started disappearing from movie scenes and it became the man who got, the father was ridiculed.
Yeah.
I mean, we grew up on Father Knows Best, the Donald Reed show, where fathers were looked up to. Leave It to Beaver. I mean, then it transitioned over where the father and the husband was a doofus. He was just an idiot, in all these sitcoms. To me, there was no strong fatherly figure, in the thing. It went all the way through the 70s. I mean, Archie Bunker, he was just a bigot.
Bumbling racist.
And it was hard to find. In fact, I can't think of a show on television that glorified manhood and being a man. But all right, let's lay it on the table here. Listen, what do you think? Well, let's start with you.
Yeah.
What do you think in you constitutes being a good man and being a masculine man? Because you're probably one of the most masculine men I've ever seen.
Well, without a doubt.
I'm telling you, walk in the room like John
a pretty
Wayne.
heavy question.
That is. I wish we would have
Well, let's get this show on the road, the Guillermo Moreno hour.
What defines me as a man?
How do you define you in terms of being a man and being masculine?
Well, first of all, my biology. So that's just number one. I mean, hey, I'm not anything else.
Do you open the door for your wife?
Yeah, absolutely.
See, I think that's being masculine.
The car every time. But for me, it's a.
But if you're going into like a rest, no, not the car every time.
Yeah.
Where you get out and walk around. My wife would just slap me for that.
Let me do it for her.
Yeah. Oh, God. I mean, but if you're going to the restaurant, you open up the door.
Yes.
The chair, that sort of thing.
Yeah, sure.
To me, that's being a man. It's being masculine.
It is, yeah. And providing. And providing and just knowing, hey, if you know what hits the fan, I got to do something.
Okay.
I got to fix it. I got to provide. I got to make sure you're taken care of. To
Okay,
me, that defines. But I wanted to have a caveat. That doesn't mean just men can do that, because women can do that as well.
Well, let's go deep in here. Hey, Dr. Phil got nothing on us.
He's not even a doctor.
We got Pearl. Let me let me throw this at you. You and your wife, you're in bed at night, and you hear somebody trying to get in the door, and wakes up scared. You're both hearts are beating. Who gets up and goes down there and confronts it?
Me.
Okay. Now, to me,
I didn't say that very loud to me.
Well, to me, that's being a man. You don't send your wife down there. There's some people would say, well, you sit there and discuss it. And if you're gender neutral, nobody goes.
Yeah, who goes?
But here's the here's the thing.
It's a man. You're being masculine, right?
We grew up with
that.
Huh? We grew up with that.
Well,
so we
didn't every generation before this craziness hit? Do you realize there is no country that I know of on the face of this earth in the year 2022 right now that are discussing this kinds of issues? Well, only in America, as Don King would say. Whether a man's a man or a woman is a woman. I mean, from the deepest, darkest parts of Africa to Asia to Australia, they're going, what?
Yeah, they're laughing.
They're having a deep discussion.
And Putin's
whether
loving
a man's a man or a woman. Yes.
Yeah, Putin.
And then on top of it, Boris gets up there going, yeah, this is a woman. He wouldn't have attacked. I mean, he's got pecs like a woman, but he's not a woman. Don't be scared.
I'm leaving.
Toxic masculinity. And then it cost him his job. The Brits said, enough's enough.
Yeah.
But I can't believe we're on this show. If you would have told me back in the day, and this is a recent phenomenon. We weren't talking about this 5 years ago. What the hell has happened? What's happened to this world? What's happened to this country?
We're not in charge anymore.
Who is? When you're saying mathematics is racist.
Well, that is racist.
Masculinity science is racist. Men are not men, and if you open the door for a woman, you're toxically masculine, and if you don't, you hate women. You're a misogynist. I mean, what's a man to do? I need.
You better go to your safe space
I need
right
a safe
now.
Space. Where is it? You have a safe space here in the studio. Where is it?
I do.
You tell me that bathroom. I'm going to say. And there's men around here. Make sure you keep that lid up. I'm walking in. Last time I walked in there, and that lid's down. Let me tell you, this is
don't go in.
Toxic masculinity is going to reign here at KXCX.
It'll be toxic.
What man hater put that lid down on the toilet? Let's go to Debbie.
No, you need a crab standing up now.
Jeremy, so we don't say it though. I'm sorry. I just see Debbie. Maybe she'll change the subject on it. She's got something positive. Cincinnati, Debbie.
Oh,
we need some positive.
Debbie, are you there? Debbie?
Yeah.
Oh, please be there.
Hi.
Please be there. Debbie? What's going on, Debbie?
Hi.
Cincinnati, Debbie.
No, not a whole lot. It's hot and stormy here.
Yeah, here in the studio too. Yeah.
First off, I want to say that men can be men if women will let them be.
Ooh, great line. Keep talking. Go
good.
on. Just go with that. Where are you going? I want to hear more.
Seriously, I just dig the daylights out of Jim holding the door open for me, or considering me first for things. Even to the point of sitting down at a restaurant, he tells me to order first.
Why would you do that?
I know that sounds sappy, but
well, Debbie,
if women will let men be men, instead of the man bun stupid stuff that they do.
Let me ask you.
I mean, seriously.
I'm with you. I'm following you. Debbie, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. If you and Jim were sitting in, you're in your house, and Jim's on the couch, and he's just overwhelmed with his love for you, and he says, "Hey, little woman, come over here and sit on my lap." Would you be offended?
I do it.
Yeah, you wouldn't be offended him calling you little woman, right?
No, he calls me baby all the time.
Yeah,
baby girl.
That's a term of endearment, and you're joking. Hey, little woman, come here. Or a gal. Boy, you're one good-looking gal. I got to tell you that. Oh God, you'd get.
And he
he'd hang you up by your gonads, man.
You know,
here in the
he's
woke
71
world.
years old, and I want to tell you something that's going on
How
here
old?
in our town
71.
right now.
Okay.
I told you before, he drives a dump truck for a living, and
I
we
like him
had
already.
2 or 3 nights ago, huh?
I like him already. Now, I
And
like
we,
that. I like people that work with their hands. I come from a long line of people who work. Go ahead.
We had a tornado go through a community a little bit north of here a couple of nights ago, and I mean, it was bad. So Jim and his buddies with their dump truck, instead of working, they're going up there. They've gone up there the last 2 days to help haul stuff away.
Yeah.
Now
that's that's masculinity.
Men do.
That's masculine. Pearl, probably only.
Did I interrupt you? Oh.
No, what you just said. No, that's what men do.
Well, I mean,
we got to be stop being afraid of saying that.
And he's, there's him and 2 of his other buddies. I mean, they're missing pay to go up there and help them clean this mess up so these people can get some kind of normalcy back to their life. I mean, this little town, part of it was just leveled.
Yeah.
I mean, it was, people without their homes and, it's just, but he left real early this morning, and I talked to him a little while ago, and he says, I'll probably be about 7 o'clock before I get home tonight. And I said, that's fine. But to me, that is more manly than anything that he could do. That, and you're talking about opening the car door. Well, this is his idea of opening. He's got a truck that sits so high up in the ground, from the ground, a pickup truck, that I can't get in it. So his idea of helping me up is opening the door and grabbing my rear and shoving me out.
I love it. I'm getting a big truck now.
Oh, Debbie, you gotta love a guy like that. Yeah.
That's his idea of helping me in. But I originally called because there's just so much negative crap. I just get sometimes at night I watch Hannity and I watch Tucker, and I'm thinking, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? All I do is get hacked off. You know?
Tucker's not toxic masculine, but his tie is.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that's what throws everybody.
But we recently had our 4th of July. Yeah. And we went to a car show. We didn't drag race this weekend because we couldn't afford it. So we went to a car show, and I took pictures of it. They stood up, they had the national anthem, and I looked all around. Every human in that park was standing there either saluting or had their hand over their heart, or I mean it brought me to tears. It honestly brought me to tears, because how much longer are we going to be allowed to do that?
Well, that'll be up to us. As Guillermo said, we get the leadership we elect. And that's why we have to keep talking about this stuff. We have to make it a part of our life. We can't let it overwhelm us, Debbie. I'm quick to point that out. Go home tonight, this weekend, get away from this stuff. But it's our responsibility that God put us in this era that we're in. It's being God-fearing people, to stand our ground and fight back on this stuff. This attempt by the woke left to steal the soul of America and to get God out of it has to be. So it's hard to find, and it's tough.
How in the world did these people get so much power? How did that happen?
Well, it didn't happen overnight, and that's a whole show. I've got my own theory on it. It was planned out. Most Marxist movements take decades to happen because they play the long game. While we were busy going to work, living the American dream, they were step by step getting into public school systems.
Preach it,
as you point out on your show. In the public school systems, in the military,
everything, every sector of life,
the media,
they
just step by step. It was well thought out, and to think that it was just something that happened, you're not going to be able to defeat it. It's going to take a coordinated effort for good to defeat that coordinated effort of evil, and that's what we have to understand. We got to come together, stay together.
But you know what? God's got it under control.
Yep. Absolutely.
And He's got it under control, and whatever he wants, it's going to happen,
right?
No matter what.
But we have to do God's work ourselves here. Like he said, faith without works is dead. He's got works for us here to do, and that is to stand up against this stuff. Debbie, thanks so much for calling in. Appreciate you, dear. And so, again, give that husband a big old hug.
That's right.
And next time he has trouble getting that truck, just grab him by his buttocks and push him up in there. And say it's a woman's world, dude.
Stop being so toxic.
God bless you too. That was a great call.
You before you go, you mentioned a good point there. The Bible has define gender roles.
Absolutely.
It does. I mean, it defines a
Our
man.
Father who art in heaven.
Yeah, yeah.
And when Jesus, he said, the disciples said, teach us how to pray. He started off with our Father. Mother Mary. I mean, it's and it's no surprise that that's where the woke left. Marxism, one of the first things they have to get rid of is religion, faith, because you can't put anything over the state's power. And that's why there's no religion allowed in a pure Marxist regime. Not in North Korea, not in China. I mean, go down the line, and Venezuela is starting to get rid of it. And that's part of the plan, as you point out. I say it all the time. It ain't paranoia if they're really after you. And they're after the American principles of faith, family, and freedom in this country. And it's just the cards God has dealt us. If you care about this country, you care about a country that you're leaving behind, we're under attack. You either shrink from it and go and leave the battle for somebody else to fight, or you do your part the best you can to do your little part to stand up against it. That's what you do, Guillermo, on the show and with this station. Well, Bob, that's where, you come in here, you're doing your part. That's why I try to do my little part. And that's what's required of us. And you either have that sense of personal responsibility or you don't.
Yeah. Well said.
That's why this, there's a philosopher I want you all to write down. Friedrich Nietzsche. Okay. You Google it, it'll come up. But he'll give you insight of some of the ideology and some philosophy behind this woke movement. A lot of it is grabbed from Nietzsche of there is no truth, really. There is no objectivity. It's what you want to make of it. A lot of the stuff lifted from Nietzsche, and you'll see Nietzsche quoted all over the internet. Young people are just really gravitating. Very, very interesting guy. That Jordan Peterson quotes him a lot. Yeah. But you see for what it is. And well, folks, we got about a minute 27. Any final thoughts on toxic masculinity?
Man,
or I had a great video. I wanted to show up, but we don't have enough time. Of Slim Pickens riding an atomic bomb down in Dr. Strangelove. And I look there, all you have to put is Joe Biden's face instead of Slim Pickens. And I'm thinking to myself, that's what he wants to do. That's how he wants to go out. I finally figured it out. He wants to jump on. He wants to get up on a nuclear hydrogen bomb, like a bull, like his bull riding out at Clovis Rodeo. Cinch in, let him drop that sucker on the way down. Yeah.
Well, you can make your own nuclear bomb,
Well, how?
Hard-boiled eggs and pork and beans.
I couldn't even get it
Dang,
out.
I'm a whole factory. I'm a whole factory. Israel's going to bomb me.
I couldn't even get it out.
Israel's going to send out some planes tomorrow and find me up here in Fresno and get rid of their number one. Not one to go to the Holy Land this week. They're going to bar me. Folks, thanks for tuning in on Free for All Friday. Bill and Bob, always a chunk of heaven having you with us.
Love you all.
Triple G, my favorite talk show host and great friend. Thank you for being here.
Always an honor.
And folks that are tuning in on radio and on social media, thank you so much. And remember, just do your best. That's all you can do. Do your best. Let God do the rest, and everything will be just fine. God bless and love y'all. Bye-bye now.
Who cares about the clouds if we're together? Just sing a song and bring the sunny
Just some of the stories that
you wanted to touch on.
No.
Oh.
Alan sent us topics, and I had time today to print out stories.
Oh, you get to print it out. I got to write this. Are we're not on social media, are we?
Jose, let me.
Oh yeah, you're done. Another one. Well, folks, we got about a minute 27. But you see. For what it is. And well, folks, we got about a minute 27. Any final thoughts on toxic masculinity.
Man.
Or I had a great video. I wanted to show it. Hey, Jeremy.
Thanks, man.
You getting old?
No, I don't.
Yeah, see a little red getting older, man. At KXEX.
Listening to the Alan Autry Show on the best talking,
It is so great.
There's not a lot of them.
One more time. And go retirada. Goes. This is no. This is, I said no. No retirada. Okay. Did you know that, Bullet Bob?
I did not know that.
We won't see him in the studio again. We'll just have a little service, a little grave, a grave. Welcome, Bullet Bob. Welcome, Guillermo, Triple G, Moreno, my favorite. It is so great.
There's not a lot of them.
Not a lot of them out
How
there.
many Latinx Latinos do you know?